Hey there, in today's video we're going to be going over the 2022-2023 TMSCA General Math Test number 11. Let's do it. Alright, number 11. Shane is buying a shirt and his subtotal comes out to be $16.50. If there's an 8% tax, how much will Shane's total bill be? Alright, so the way we're going to approach this problem is we have the $16.50 and we're going to add the tax value. And in this case, that tax value, that's equal to 8% of these $16.50. 8% can also be written as 8 over 100. Also 8 over 100, which means 8% of 16.5 would just be 8 over 100 times 16.5. This becomes 8 times 16.5 over 100. Alright, now let's do 8 times 16.5. So 8 times 16.5 can be broken down into 8 times 10 and 8 times 6.5. Alright, so 8 times 10, that's just 80. And 8 times 6.5, that's just 52. Which means 8 times 16.5 is going to be 132. Alright, so now we have 132 replacing this spot right here. And now it's divided by 100. So 132 divided by 100, that's just moving the decimal spot 2 places forward. So 1, 2. So this now becomes 1.32. So that means our tax, so let's go over here. Our tax is equal to $1.32. Now all we have to do is add that with the $16.50. When we do that, that's 2, 8, 7, and 1. So it's $17.82, and that's your answer. Next, number 12. 1 over 1 times 2 plus 1 over 2 times 3 plus 1 over 3 times 4 plus 1 over 4 times 5 equals what? Alright, this is actually a pretty simple problem. We can solve this pretty easily. So first, let's simplify all these denominators. So 1 over 1 times 2, that's just 1 times 2 is 2, so it's 1 over 2. Next, 1 over 2 times 3. 2 times 3 is 6, so it's just 1 over 6. Next, 1 over 3 times 4. 3 times 4 is 12, so that's just 1 over 12. Next, 1 over 4 times 5. 4 times 5 is just 20, so it's 1 over 20. Alright, now we have to figure out what these all sum to. So to do that, we first have to bring them to a common denominator. So these all share the common denominator of 60. So they all have 60 in common because 2 times 30 equals 60. 6 times 10 is 60. 12 times 5 is 60. And 20 times 3 is 60. So if we multiply the denominator by that, we're going to have to multiply the numerator by that as well. So let's do this. So first, 1/2, when you convert it to the common denominator of 60, that's just 30 over 60. Then 1/6, when you convert that to the common denominator of 60, that's just 10 over 60. I need to do the following for all of these, and it's just 5 over 60 and 3 over 60. Alright, now since these are all the same denominator, we can add them. So 30 plus 10 plus 5 plus 3, that is 48, which means this is 48 over 60. And finally, we can see that both 48 and 60 are both divisible by 12. 60 is 12 times 5, and 48 is 12 times 4, which means 48 over 60 is equal to 4 over 5, and that's your answer. Next, number 13. Find the LCM of the numbers 16, 28, and 36. Alright, so LCM is the least common multiple, meaning the smallest number which each of these numbers is a factor of. Alright, let's find that. So first, the way we're going to do this is we're going to compute the prime factorization of each of these numbers. So 16, 28, and 36. Alright, so 16 can be divided into 4 and 4. Each of these 4s can be divided into 2 and 2. 2 is a prime number. We know it's a prime number because it can only be divided by the number 1 and itself, which is 2. So that means we have 2 appearances each from each side. So that's 4 total appearances of the number 2. So this is going to be 2 to the power 4. Alright, next, 28. 28 can be divided into 4 and 7. 7 is a prime number, so we're going to leave it. 4 can be divided into 2 and 2. So now we have 2 appearances of 2 and we have a 7. So that's going to be 2 squared times 7. Alright, next we have 36. 36 can be divided into 6 and 6. 6 and 6 can each be divided into 3 and 2. So that means we have 2 appearances of 2 and 2 appearances of 3. Alright, so now this is a prime factorization of each of these numbers. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take the highest term, as in like which term out of all of these, like each prime factorization, is the highest value. So in 16's case, there's only one term, 2 power 4. So we're going to take that over here, 2 power 4. Next, we have 7 and 2 squared. 2 squared is 4. 4 is less than 7, so we're going to take 7. Next, 2 squared and 3 squared. 3 squared is greater than 2 squared, so we're going to take 3 squared. So this is a prime factorization of the LCM. So now all we have to do is solve this. So 2 power 4. 2 power 4 is just 16. Then we have 7. And then we have times 3 squared. 3 squared is 9. So this is 7 times 9, which is 63. So this is 63 times 16. 63 times 16 is 1008. And that's your answer. Next, number 14. $9.56 equals 18 quarters plus how many dimes plus 40 nickels plus 6 pennies. Alright, the way we're going to solve this is we're going to compute the values of each of these amounts, add them up, and find the difference between $9.56 and the sum of these three values. Alright, let's do this. So 18 quarters. A quarter is 25 cents, which means 18 quarters is just 18 times 0.25. So when you do that, that's just 4.5. Next, 40 nickels. So a nickel is 5 cents, which means 40 nickels is 40 times 0.05. That's just $2 to be exact, but it doesn't really matter. Alright, then 6 pennies. So each penny is 1 cent, which means that's just 6 times 0.01, which is 0.06. Alright, now when we add this all together, we have $6.56. So that means that between $6.56 and the original amount, which is $9.56, there is a $3 difference. So how do we find $3 in dimes? Well, $3 is also 300 cents. And we know that one dime, let's go write 1D, equals 10 cents. Which means to make up this value of 300 cents, we would need 30 dimes. And that's your answer. Next, number 15. What is the perimeter of a right triangle with legs measuring 5 centimeters and 12 centimeters? Alright, so this is a right triangle with legs of 5 and 12. Alright, so we can do two things here. So we can do Pythagorean theorem, which is a squared plus b squared equals c squared, which in this case, this is a, this is b, and this is c, to find the value of this hypotenuse, which is the longest side, and then add them up to find the perimeter. Or we can see that 5, 12 makes up the two legs of a common Pythagorean triple, which is 5, 12, 13. So that's the actual answer for this c value. It's 13. But if we were to solve this the real way, right, of doing a Pythagorean theorem, we would do 5 squared plus 12 squared equals c squared. 5 squared is 25, 12 squared is 144. So when we add them, we get 169. And when we do the square root of that, because remember, 169 equals c squared. We have to find c. So to do that, we have to square root the entire thing. The square root of 169 is just 13. So we get the same answer either way. C equals 13. Alright, now we have to add up all the sides to get the perimeter. So that's 5 plus 12 plus 13. 5 plus 12 equals 17, and 17 plus 13 equals 30. And that's your answer. Next, number 16. What is the next term of the sequence? 1, 8, 27, and 64. Alright, so let's write our sequence. 1, 8, 27, and 64. So in this sequence, you have to find the pattern. The way we find the pattern is by analyzing the differences between each term. First, 1 and 8, there's a difference of 7. Next, 8 and 27. So 27 minus 8 is 19. Next, 27 and 64. Between them, there's a difference of 37. Alright, now using this, how do we find a pattern? Well, we have to actually think even further. So we only found the difference between each term in the sequence. But what if we found the difference between each difference? I know, sounds crazy, but let's do it. So between 7 and 19, there's a difference of 12. And between 19 and 37, there's a difference of 18. Alright, now we can see a pattern here. This is going up by 6. And as we can see, if we do the same thing, the difference will be going up by 24. So let's do that. So now we go up by 24. So 37 plus 24. That's just 61. Alright, so now we know that the difference between 64 and the next number is going to be 61. So all we have to do is 64 plus 61. When we do that, we get 125, and that's your answer. Next, number 17. Menchie's car can hold 24 gallons of gas. How many gallons of gas are in Menchie's car if the gas tank is 5/6 full of gas? Alright, so we know that there's a max limit of 24 gallons of gas. And we know that the gas tank is 5/6 full. So all we have to do is 5/6 of 24th, which is just 24 times 5 over 6. So 24 times 5, that's just 120. And 120 divided by 6, that's just 20. So that means that there are 20 gallons of gas in Menchie's car right now, and that's your answer. Next, number 18. Let A equal the set of numbers 5, 40, 25, 15, and 35, and B equal the set of numbers 7, 13, 6, 60, and 34. What is the positive difference of the means of A and B? Alright, so the mean, first of all, what does that mean? The mean is just the average. The way we find the average is we add up all the elements in a set and we divide by the total amount of values. So let's take set A, for example. So let's write this in order. 5, 15, 25, 35, 40. So first let's add all of them to see what the total is. So 5 plus 15, that's 20. 20 plus 25, that's 45. 45 plus 35, that's 80. 80 plus 40, that's 120. Alright, now we have 120. And how much terms was there in the beginning? So there was 5 terms, which means to find the average, we would do the sum, which is 120, divided by 5, the amount of terms. 120 divided by 5, that's 24, which means the average of set A, so let's just say average A equals 24. Alright, next, let's find the average of set B. So we have here in order from least to greatest 6, 7, 13, 34, 60. Alright, so when we add these up, first 6 and 7, that's 13. 13 plus 13, that's 26. 26 plus 34, that's 60. And 60 plus 60, that's 120. So in this case, we also have 120. And there's also 5 terms, which means we have 120 divided by 5. So 120 divided by 5, as we saw earlier, is 24. Which means average B is 24. So now we have to find the difference. So that's just subtraction. 24 minus 24. But wait, that's the same number, which means the answer is going to be 0. And that's your answer. Next, number 19. How many different 2-digit numbers can be made using the numbers 4, 6, 1, and 8 if digits can repeat? Alright, this is actually a pretty simple problem. So we're looking at 2-digit numbers, which means there are 2 spots for numbers to go here. And they're saying digits can repeat, which means for the first one, the options are 4, 6, 1, and 8. And there are also 4, 6, 1, and 8 for the second one, which means in total there are 4 outcomes for each one of these digits. Now, how do you find the total amount of outcomes? Well, it's just the total amount of outcomes for each digit multiplied. So that's 4 times 4, which is 16, and that's your answer. Next, number 20. MMMDCLII minus CMLXXVIII equals what in Roman numerals? Alright, so this is a Roman numeral problem. So the first thing you need to know is what are the Roman numerals. So we have I, which is 1, V, which is 5, X, which is 10, L, which is 50, C, which is 100, D, which is 500, and m, which is 1000. That's all we need to know for this problem. The second thing you need to know is the rules of 4 and 9. So the numbers 4 and 9, right? So these two numbers, instead of writing 4 as I, right, which is 4 ones, or 9 as V, which is 5, and then I, what you would write it as is 1 before the next number. So 4 is 1 before 5, which means you would write it as I before V. So this is incorrect. You should write it like this. And 9 will be written as 1 before 10, which is I before X. So this is incorrect and this is correct. And the same thing happens when you go up in scale. So for example, 40 would be 10 before 50. So X before L. And 90 would be 10 before 100. So X before C. These two are correct. Now that we know this, we can solve our problem. So how are we going to do this? We need to first take both of these Roman numerals and convert them into regular numbers or Arabic numbers. So let's do that. So first, M, D, C, L, I. Alright, so the M stands for 3000. D stands for 500, but we also have the C, so that's 600. Then L is 50, and then the II is 2. So this is 3,652. And then we have C, M, L, X, V, I. Alright, so CM. So as we can see, that's 100 before 1000, which means this is 900. Then LX. So that's LXX actually, because there's two X's, which is 50 plus 210, so 70. Then we have V, which is 5, and then we have 3 ones, which is 5 plus 3, so that's 8. So we have an 8 here. So this is 978. So now our problem is just 3,652 minus 978. That's easy to compute. Now that's in Arabic numbers, or just your regular number. Arabic number just stands for the regular number that we have. So when we do 3,652 minus 978, that gives us 2,674. Now here's the tricky part. Now we need to take this number and convert it back to Roman numerals. So the way we're going to do that is similar to how we separated these Roman numerals by digits, digit values, right? The place values, hundreds, tens, thousands, ones, tens, stuff like that. We're going to separate this one. So 2,674 is 2,674. So 2,000 in Roman numerals is MM. 600 would be 500 plus 100, so DC. 70 would be 50 plus 20, so LXX. And then 4, as we saw earlier, would be IV. So you put it all together and get MMDCLXXIV. And that's your answer. Alright, that's it. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, please make sure to show your support. These videos take a lot of effort to make, and I would really appreciate it.